every single evolution from Clash Royale in a tier list, and today I'm ranking them all to determine the best evolution in Clash Royale. The rankings will be based on 3 factors: how strong the card is individually, how popular it is in the meta, and we'll get into the third one a bit later on. So starting off, the Evolved Mega Knight has one of the highest use rates out of all evolutions in Clash Royale. It has a 13% use rate in ranked mode, which is insane. If you're a beatdown player and face the Mega Knight evolution, you know you're about to be cooked. His hit points are way too much and he can be really difficult to counter in certain scenarios. Mega Knight Wallbreaker decks are really popular right now, and I think the Royal Ghost evolution can be a good pairing with a Mega Knight. Therefore, the Evolved Mega Knight remains strong and moves up in the high B tier this season. Next up, we have the Firecracker evolution. She had a great season last month, but this meta might not be that good for her. The reason is that a lot of players will start using the arrows because of the new Evolved Skeleton army. Whenever arrows are dominant in the meta, the Firecracker use rates suffer for sure. This month is going to be no different, and I think the Firecracker evolution will unfortunately drop down to the C tier this month. The Executioner evolution is one of the strongest defensive cards in the game. He can destroy beatdown pushes all by himself in seconds. I mean, he could easily be an S-tier Evo. But remember the third thing I talked about? It's versatility! And despite the Evolved Executioner being so strong, he's used only with 1 or 2 bridge spam decks. Therefore, he will take his place in the high A tier. The Evolved Inferno Dragon is actually a strong evolution without doubt, but it had a horrible season because of the Vines and Witch being played everywhere. But now that those cards are nerfed, we can expect the Inferno Dragon Evo to return to the meta once again. I will put it back in the A tier since I think it'll perform really well this season.
I'm glad to see the Inferno Dragon finally getting some love, because in the past, he was used in garbage decks like this. By the way, this is also the official deck of the Clash Royale King, as confirmed by Clasherama in 2019. But what deck is he playing in 2025? So to find out, I went over to Polybuzz AI, an app with over 10 million downloads worldwide, and also our sponsor for today's video. This app lets you create unique character chatbots with your favorite characters from any series, game, or even anime. Since I wanted to talk to the Clash Royale King, I created his chatbot and asked him what deck he was playing.
I am the Clash Royale King! My favorite deck is E-Barbs, Mega Knight, Sparky, P.E.K.K.A, Freeze, Rage, E-Giant, Skeletons Cycle.
Why on earth would you play that cancerous deck?
Because it's hilarious! You're just mad you can't handle my power!
Calling that monstrosity a cycle deck is hilarious in itself.
You're just jealous of my massive power. Want to test that theory?
Why would I be jealous of someone who plays E-Bars? I already know you suck.
Suck? I'll show you who's really bad. Prepare to lose your crown.
We already know who's bad. That's you! Let me destroy you in a 1v1.
Fine. Let's see if you can actually win against my unbeatable deck.
Well, I did battle him after this, but let's not talk about that match. But anyways, if you would like to try and talk to any character from any anime or game for endless entertainment, then download Polybuzz AI now from the link in my description for free. A big thank you to Polybuzz AI for sponsoring this video.
The Cannon evolution currently has an 8% use rate in Clash Royale. Last month, the Cannon Evo was placed in the S tier, but it recently got a nerf, reducing its barrage damage. To be honest, I don't think the nerf is gonna affect it too much. It'll still kill Dart Goblin, Firecracker, Princess, and all other swarms, so I'm not entirely sure what the point of this nerf was. I feel like the Cannon will continue to be an S-tier Evo in Clash Royale. The Goblin Barrel evolution was in a decent spot last season, but I think it'll be even better this month because Vines is getting nerfed. Also, I totally expect it to be paired with the Evolved Skeleton army and be broken. Therefore, the Evolved Goblin Barrel moves up to the high B tier for this season. Next up, we have the Evolved Zap. Against Skeleton Army Evolution, the regular version of Zap won't be that useful, so players might not consider using the evolved version too. Arrows will obviously be the #1 preferred choice for a small spell in people's decks this season. So yeah, Zap's use rates will take a hit. Therefore, while the evolved Zap isn't necessarily bad, the meta won't suit it most likely. Therefore, it it goes in the C tier for now. The Barbarians Evolution is just garbage. For 5 elixir, you're getting 0 value. The Barbarians are slow and can be wrecked by spells like Fireball and Poison. They are useless on offense too. It's almost impossible to extract a positive elixir trade out of them. I don't expect them to be used in anything other than Lava Loon, so as always, they're going right in the D tier. Moving on, we have the Dart Goblin Evolution. It's kinda meh, and with the arrows meta coming, it's gonna fall off even more. It currently has a 4% use rate, but I'm quite sure this number's gonna drop down even more. Although, I think, if it turns out to be good against the skeleton army, it can definitely return to the meta. I'm moving the Dart Goblin Evolution to low B tier this month. The evolved skeletons are arguably the most garbage evo right now. They basically are a waste of elixir because they never really chain up on anything. No deck really runs the evo skeletons anymore. I don't think they'll be in the meta anytime soon, so therefore they are going straight in the D tier. The Snowball Evolution is one of the more decent small spells in the game. It's used with Giant Graveyard, Bridge Spam, Balloon decks, and of course the Goblin Drill. It basically guarantees damage almost every time. Although, I think October will not be a good month for the Snowball, considering how trash it's going to be against the Evolved Skeleton army. So, unfortunately, just like the Zap, the Evolved Snowball is going down in the C tier. Next up, we have the Evolved Mortar. I think this is probably the most underrated evolution in Clash Royale. I do agree that it's hard to get an evolved mortar shot on the tower, but if you can get it done, it's a guaranteed win. It has a good 51% win rate, so the evolution feels pretty balanced. I think I will put it in the B tier for now. The evolved Royal Ghost is a pretty interesting concept. At first glance, I think he might appear really overpowered. I mean, he summons 2 soldiers every time he becomes visible and starts attacking. But here's the thing, those soldiers are literally fragile, like skeletons. And not to mention, the Royal Ghost doesn't even go invisible that often. I think it'll be a solid card in Bridge Spam decks still, but not as game-breaking as people are making it out to be. I think it belongs in the low A tier for now. The Wall Breakers Evolution is one of the stronger evolutions in Clash Royale, although that's probably because of how overpowered Minor Poison is. I think they're really annoying to defend because you can just never get a positive elixir trade out of them. They are getting a death damage nerf though, which I think is quite necessary. For now, I'm putting them in the high B tier for this month. Next up, we have the new Skeleton Army Evolution. It appears really broken, and it's kinda hard to get a positive elixir trade if you want to counter it. Arrows seem like the only good option, but then again, I expect pros to make some really cool plays like splitting the evolved skeleton army in the middle and sending the captain to the opposite lane of the incoming enemy push. That way, it'll be hard for your opponent to drop a spell on the skeletons trying to counter your push. Overall, I think it's a fun concept and deserving of a high A tier. The evolved Goblin Cage is used only with 2 decks in Clash Royale, Graveyard and Royal Recruits. I don't think it was so strong that Supercell needed to nerf it again. Other buildings like Cannon and Goblin Hut are just much better. But with Vines nerfed, Graveyard won't be as strong as last meta and Goblin Cage use rates will drop. And therefore, the Goblin Cage will only remain in the middle of the B tier. Next up, we have the Battle Ram Evolution. Bridge Spam was kind of mid last month, and I don't expect anything to change in this meta too. It's just a card that will provide you value 1 out of 10 times, and well, that's just not good enough. So the evolved Battle Ram still remains in the low B tier. The Goblin Drill Evolution is undoubtedly the worst evolution in Clash Royale. Its regular version is known to be better than its evolved version, and that's basically all you need to know. It's impossible to get good damage with it because of how easy it is to predict. Playing the Goblin Drill Evo is a sure way to lose the game before it even starts. Thus, the Goblin Drill once again remains at the bottom of the F tier. The Bats Evolution are currently seen in Mortar Bait decks or minor wall breakers. With so many splash cards and small spells in the meta, the Bats Evolution seems to be going through a rough time. I do admit that they are kinda underrated though and can give you some nice elixir trades. but for now I'm placing them in the high C tier. Next we have the Royal Recruits Evolution. It's probably the most no-skill card in Clash Royale. It's annoying to face and has a superb 53% win rate in ranked mode. Recruits decks are extremely brain dead, and they are always viable. And that's why the Royal Recruits Evolution is going in the A tier. The Royal Giant Evolution is probably the most balanced Evo out of all, and therefore it's loved by the pros and casuals alike. Royal Giant decks usually take high skill, and in order to win, you need to outplay your opponent. I think Royal Giant Evo can be really good against the Skeleton Army Evolution, and it's definitely going to be a broken deck this season. So, in my opinion, the Evolved Royal Giant goes into the high B tier for October. Next, we have the Skeleton Barrel Evolution. It is really irritating to face if it's being played in Mortar and Miner decks, but it can definitely struggle against decks with good defense. Still, you need to only get death damage on the tower to get value. The Skeleton Barrel can pair well with the Skeleton Army Evolution this month, especially in bait decks. I think it's going to be a solid Evo, and therefore the Evolved Skeleton Barrel goes into the A tier this season. The Knight Evolution was kinda overshadowed by the Valkyrie Evolution last month. People preferred her over the Knight in graveyard decks. The Knight's use rates sit at 7% currently, which means they have dropped down in the last 2 months. It's still a solid Evo in my opinion, but definitely not an S tier Evo anymore. I will put it in the high B tier this season. If you have the Knight Evolution unlocked, then hit that like and subscribe button. The Hunter Evolution can be making a return this season now that Vines has been nerfed pretty hard. But the problem is that it's only used with Royal Giant decks, which might prefer the Royal Giant and the Royal Ghost as its 2 evolutions now. But well, at least it won't be a dead card like the previous season. For now, I'm still putting it in the high C tier, but this ranking can definitely change very soon. The Witch Evolution received a pretty significant nerf recently. In the last meta, she was everywhere because of how strong Vines was. But let's be real, that was the only reason why she was even viable. And now that Vines has been nerfed, there's no reason to use the Witch Evolution over something like an Evolved Furnace or Evolved Baby Dragon. The nerf might make her unusable, and I don't expect to see a lot of Evo Witch this season. I'm still putting her in the B tier as we wait for the meta to evolve. The Furnace Evolution just got a little nerf, but it was kinda deserved. Currently, it has a great 8% use rate with a 53% win rate. Those are some pretty solid stats for an evolution. I think despite the nerf, it will remain a pretty solid card. Obviously not as overpowered as it was 2 months ago, but still, I can see a lot of decks using the Furnace Evo. I think it's right to put the Furnace Evolution low A tier for this season. The Evolved Musketeer is one of the few Evos no one ever complains about. Supercell did a great job balancing her, and she remains fun to use. You can find the Evolved Musketeer in Minor Loon and Giant Graveyard decks mainly. You can use her to make some nice predictions, which can change the course of the match instantly. I will put the Evolved Musketeer in the high B tier, like always. The Evolved Wizard was, is, and will continue to remain a trash evolution. The regular wizard in itself is such a bad card that, to play its evolved version, you're basically always setting up yourselves for a negative elixir trade. There are no decks in the meta that consistently use the evolved wizard. The card just downright sucks, and it's going into the F tier. Next up, we have the Archers Evolution. They did get a big nerf 2 months back, and ever since then, they've been useless. They are only used with Expo, and the deck is going through a tough meta. It's clear that they'll be even more garbage this season because of the Arrows meta, and therefore they'll be going in the D tier for now. The Goblin Giant Evolution got a pretty big nerf, and it might have been too brutal. I mean, the card won't die, but well, its dominance is about to end, and I couldn't be happier. The Goblin Machine is getting a nerf too, so the evil combo of the Goblin Giant and P.E.K.K.A. can finally simply die now. The deck was ruining the meta and everyone hated playing against it. But this month, the Goblin Giant Evolution finally moves down a tier and is now a B tier card. The P.E.K.K.A. Evolution will take a similar hit as the Goblin Giant, because after all, both of these cards were used in that one deck only. Although I do think that with the new Royal Ghost Evolution, P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam can make a return. But the Evolved Skeleton Army will make things difficult for the P.E.K.K.A. and therefore I can't rank it higher than low B tier. The Tesla Evolution is one of the worst Evos in Clash Royale right now. It's only used with Minor Rocket and Expo Cycle, and those decks only run it because they don't have any other defensive evolution. The Evolved Tesla has a horrible 47% win rate in Clash Royale, which isn't good for a building, so therefore it will unfortunately go down right in the C tier. The Ice Spirit Evolution is another Evo that completely died after its nerf. Now it's only used if your deck doesn't have another Evo option, so it's mainly seen in the same decks as Tesla Evo, which are Expo and Minor Rocket. Once, the Ice Spirit used to be the best evolution in the game, but now it only has a 47% win rate and is a low B tier evolution at the very best. The Valkyrie Evolution is one of the best Evos in the game because of how great she is on defense. Last season, she was the main tank of graveyard decks and a big reason why the archetype dominated the whole season. She has a godly 18% use rate on ladder. That's absolutely unreal. In the recent balance changes, she did get nerfed, but I think she still will be really good. The Evolved Valkyrie is actually a great counter to the Skeleton Army Evolution. I think she will continue to dominate the meta, and therefore I will put her in the S tier. The Electro Dragon Evolution is extremely situational, as we all know. Great against beatdown, horrible against cycle. It's not really used in any archetype at the moment. Even Golem decks aren't running it anymore. This month, the Evolved Electro Dragon goes in the C tier. The Lumberjack Evolution has a good 6% use rate because of the rise in beatdown and bridge spam decks. But in this meta, I don't think he'll be viable anymore because of the Skeleton Army Evolution. So I will put him in the low B tier for now. The Baby Dragon Evolution just got changed to 2 cycles now instead of 1, which is good. 4 Elixir Evolutions should never be 1 cycle anyways. It's a solid card still, and now that it's balanced, I can put it in the high B tier. The Bomber Revolution was just terrible, and it still got nerfed. It really sucks and therefore is worthy of an F tier card. It's one of the 10 pay-to-lose evolutions in Clash Royale, and if you want to know which the other 9 are, then click on this video.